the intersection of 11th and Mission and the length of Mission Street between 11th Street and the Mission. So 11th Street and San Luis Obispo. Additionally, we were looking at both ends of the bridge. So additional lighting both ends of the bridge, Mission Street between 11th and San Luis Obispo, the intersection of 11th and Mission, the intersection of 16th and Mission across the walking path to 16th and N. Those are the main locations that were being requested to be looked at.
Both ends of the bridge, on the bridge?
So not on the bridge physically, but at both ends of the bridge. So there is, I think, one street light on the west side of the bridge currently at the intersection, and then there isn't anything on the east side. So it'd be improving visibility on the bridge, for the bridge. There is possibility of putting lights on the bridge, but that project would be fairly cost prohibitive given the extent that we'd have to go through with the Army Corps of Engineers and the county. And so it is still a possibility if the board wants to look at that. I mean, that would give us the best overall. It would just be the most costly.
Baby steps. Could be grant funding.
Possibly.
Okay. Questions or comments, Director?
This 87,890, that's just for the design?
So that's design and permitting assistance to get it to a construction ready point.
Okay.
Does lighting have funding to break ground on anything that would be engineered?
So currently lighting has funding for this, obviously, but it has, based on roundabout prices that I could surmise from other similar projects, the lighting has enough funding that they could probably do 50% of these locations initially, and could be phased in over the next few years. In the instance of River Road on the east side of the bridge, the design on that could be worked into the construction of the development that's next to that at little or no cost to the district. Also similarly, on 11th and Mission, the county is looking at installing a street light or a stoplight there. And if that is the case, then we may be able to do some sort of partnership to increase lighting at that location.
11th and Mission, they want to put a stoplight.
11th and Mission and 14th and Mission. They're working, they approved funding for the design of those two locations.
Well,
interesting choice, but
that four-way stop works pretty good, you know.
No.
well, in my observation, people don't stop at stop signs around here.
Yeah.
They don't stop at lights around here.
Well,
They don't stop at anything.
That's what I'm saying.
I would say probably on a daily basis, I get almost run into probably 3 or 4 times. At stop signs or otherwise. But to answer your question, yes, lighting does have funding to affect at least part of these. And through this process, the board will have ample opportunity to prioritize their wishes for, order of construction.
Okay. It looks like it's a fairly long project based on that project schedule. So it's really gonna be 7 months. Yeah. Okay.
And we still got 72,000 coming from the borrowed money of the 80,000.
Yeah, over 10 years.
Yeah.
A couple lights. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody else? Director? No?
Question, if I may. Would the board consider maybe extending the scope of work to include some lights on River Road? For example, River Road and Mission Lane, There have been numerous accidents there, and every time I go to a vehicle accident at night, the common denominator is I can't see, I didn't see them. And you'll see marks from a vehicle 6 foot, 8 foot high on that power pole right there, which could have a street light installed on it. And then maybe even a little more in depth would be to try to install some lights on the existing power poles along River Road, which would be a low-cost item to enhance safety at intersections. Because if you've ever driven on River Road after dark at any speed, it's dangerous. And there's blind curves, and there's driveways, and there's roads that kind of pop out of nowhere. And I would encourage the board to look at it from a public safety perspective and maybe include that into the scope if possible.
Is it possible? If it's on a power pole, is that something that would be provided by PG&E or it's on the district?
So it depends on the location. It is possible that we could have lights put on existing poles. The caveat to that is that in general, they won't bring new power over on an existing pole, especially a transmission pole, if it doesn't already have low voltage power, 240 volt power. But it's entirely situational. So if there's power nearby, then they might be willing to bring it over. If there's not, then the cost might be too prohibitive for them to want to bring it there. If the district is paying out of pocket for it, then that's a different story. As I mentioned previously, there is additional locations that have been worked into this proposal. So if the board desires to look at, for instance, the location of River Road and Mission Lane, that can be added as one of those additional places to look at adding a streetlight and see what the proposal is.
Could just come back with additional scope?
So the hours are included in this scope, but it would be, part of that current agreement. It would just be one of the additional spots.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Directors? Yeah, how are you? Director? Yeah. Any public comment on this item?
Definitely. I just happen to have some personal knowledge about streetlights. I paid for one right in front of my house about 15 years ago, and I didn't have a design plan. I just said, hey, put it right there. And PG&E did, and it was cheap, and I had the brightest light in town. My bulb is brighter than all of your streetlights. And that's another thing. Stop putting the cheap bulbs in all the streetlights. There are brighter bulbs available now that we have, technology. So that's a cheap fix. They can plug in a new bulb and you can get a lot more light. I've got a ton of light up there on the corner where we've had, how many fatalities at that corner?
At least 3 that I know of.
Okay, and then the guy that climbed up the wire, and the guy that went over the hill in the Jeep,
Multiple accidents.
yeah, it's like
fatalities.
tons of stuff. And then the county decided to improve the road because there were so many accidents, so now they made it a racetrack because the corner is very smooth. People go twice as fast. So when we get an accident now, it's pretty spectacular. So if you walk along River Road, you'll see a whole bunch of poles that have the right power on them. Mine has the power. They took a line and they dragged it over a couple of poles. So they can go in either direction with wire. And it's really cheap. So that's a cheap way to get lights up on the terrace. Please. How much money's in the lighting fund?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Come on, what's an estimate? That's a basic figure. And when was the last time we pulled money out of there? You haven't done any lighting in 15 years.
I don't want to get into a back and forth with them.
I just want to know what the balance is. You've never told me.
In lighting?
Yeah.
We can look at the agenda item and we can look and see.
The financials.
Yeah.
We talked about other stuff. We can talk about this. I've been asking you for lighting for 3 years, 4 years.
I'm not trying to be rude, but we want to make sure we're not going into a back and forth.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All I want to know is the balance in the account.
All in all, lighting has 1.1 million and some change.
1.1 million. It's because we haven't bought any lights in this town in probably 25 years. That money's sitting there. When was the last time we took money out of the account?
Well, it's lighting and landscaping, so the last time we probably paid for landscaping.
It wasn't landscaping, it's a lighting fund, you added landscaping to it. So what was the last amount we took out of the account?
I don't know that right now. We have regular expenses that come out of this
What
account.
was the last big number?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Did we take money out for any capital projects?
The only thing that comes to mind right now is the loan that was given to the fire department.
And how much was that?
That was a maximum $80,000.
80,000, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? No. Okay. Yes.
I think that's a good idea, checking into that, you know, if the poles are already there, and if PG&E will put a light on the pole, let them do it.
Well, if we were to add lights on those poles, PG&E would be adding lights on those poles. We wouldn't be able to hire a contractor to do it. PG&E would have to hire their contractor to do that.
Yeah, right. Cause like, right across from my house, there's not, street lights on a telephone pole.
Yeah, we have a lot of that around town.
Yeah.
So that is something that we can look at as part of this contract, if that's the desire of the board. Again,
I agree.
Yeah.
I would say that I would approve resolution 2026-XX, item 5, with the additional scope as mentioned in this discussion.
I second.
so we have a motion by Director Sangster, second by Director Beatty, to approve contract with EPI for the land services amount not to exceed $87,890 by resolution 2026. The next number in line, with the necessary budget adjustments with the additional scope of investigating additional street lighting along River Road.
Additional scope. Okay. Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 with 1 vacancy.
Okay, move on to item number 6, approves resolution 2026-XX, lowercase x's, authorizing general manager to execute a contract with ABC Lyven Drilling in an amount not to exceed $52,689 and NBS Land Survey in the amount not to exceed $3,600 for exploratory and monitoring well borings at multiple locations within the Machado wastewater treatment facility.
So this item is to approve contract with ADC Lyven Drilling and NDS Surveys. What is being requested is a contract with those companies to perform essentially 9 borings. 4 permanent monitoring wells would be developed and 3 additional bores would be done. The monitoring wells would assist us in identifying what our overall problem is with the wastewater treatment plant percolation. The additional borings would help us with our proposed expansion of the percolation pond system at the treatment plant. We performed an informal RFP for this work. We ended up with 3 different contractors, ranging from $52,689 to 2 down to $45,000. The contractor that was providing a bid for $45,000 was deemed non-responsive and unable to perform the work, which is why they're not being recommended for a contract.
Okay. You worked with both of these companies in the past?
So I have not personally worked with these companies in the past. ABC Lyven, however you pronounce that, ABC Drilling. They have performed a lot of this work for other agencies, and they've done other work for the county, and they are actually, I think as of Tuesday, were awarded another contract with the county for similar monitoring well work that we're asking for.
Okay.
So they're very well versed and very well able to perform this work for us.
Okay. I've worked with MBS Land Survey in the past. No issues with them.
Yeah, MBS surveys is our normal surveyor. Although we do use other surveyors, they are the one that we've been using in their surveyor record for the treatment plant, which is why they were brought in for this.
Okay. Okay, questions, comments?
9
There's
monitoring wells.
So we would be developing 4 new monitoring wells
Yeah,
and drilling 3 test wells or exploratory wells to determine what the status is. So we can determine if we need to go deeper with our percolation ponds or redesign them in a different way. The monitoring wells would be installed permanently.
You're right.
and,
And it should be noted that one of the monitoring wells is replacing the existing monitoring well at the northeast corner of our property. That particular one is required by our permit to be replaced. So this project would be satisfying that requirement as well.
so, I don't know if I'm right. Somebody's gonna come in and drill 9 wells for $52,000?
That's what they're proposing.
How deep they going, 20 foot?
60 feet, or 65 feet.
Oh, okay.
And they're small wells, they're only 2-inch. But the end result is a 2-inch well. This is only for monitoring, it's not for
Right.
production.
Just gonna tell you this water static.
Right. So eventually those wells would be fitted with level monitoring equipment to get real-time, long-term data. But they would be incorporated into our overall monitoring network and be tested with our existing wells.
Are they lined?
The wells would have a casing, a 2-inch PVC casing, but that would be it.
Okay. Anything else?
Are these are used for what's the word I'm looking for? These monitoring wells are they sounding wells essentially? Is that basically what we're referring to?
So in the basic sense, it's a sounding well to get the water table level on a regular basis. However, they also will become part of our monitoring network at the treatment plant, which monitors groundwater quality. So
they're going to be essentially they're going to be checking quality and levels.
So year-round, we'll be checking level, and that'll be provided, on a daily, hourly, or whatever we set up at that point. The quarterly, we're required to sample for water quality, so they would be tested for water quality similar to the ones that we have now. And then all that information would be compiled into our permit reporting and used to make any sort of informed decision on future actions of the treatment plant.
Okay, so you will be pumping these every now and then, right?
So on a quarterly basis, we would be bailing the water out and then sampling the water that comes back in.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
So we won't be pumping them like a production well. We'll be just getting the water out that's in there, which would be stagnant at that point, and the refill water is what we'd be testing.
Anything else? Anything else? Dr. Beatty did indicate that on your information on the page, there's a dyslexic typo, it looks like. So just confirming that the amount is $52,689.
Which page did I get this lexic on?
277. The paragraph just above fiscal impact, bottom of that line.
I was just making sure it wasn't just me.
It's just before, although it is possible.
Yeah, no, it's $52,689.
Okay. Any public comment on this item? Nope. All right.
It's in the resolution too.
Oh, yeah, apparently I was really dyslexic that day.
It's on the resolution as well.
The resolution should be corrected to $52,689.
Okay.
So if there is a resulting motion to adopt, I would ask that that motion include an amendment to the resolution
I'm
to
sorry.
reflect the proper amount.
I'm sorry, I'm
It's correct.
having a problem now, because that's $52,000 plus the $3,600.
Oh,
So the $56,289 is correct, as the total amount that you would be approving.
52,689 is the total, and that includes the 3,600?
The contract with ABC Drilling is $52,689. The contract with NBS Land Survey is $3,600. Those together is $56,289.
Okay.
no dyslexia.
Okay.
I say we all.
Yeah.
It has
But
happened.
thank you for checking.
No.
The numbers are lining up.
Good on you.
Good eye.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Did we take public comment on
Yeah,
this?
we did.
Okay.
No,
There was a lot going on.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Beatty.
Director Beatty. So we have a motion by Director Sangster, second by Director Beatty.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 with one vacancy.
Okay, moving on, item number 7. This was tabled from October 23rd, 2025 and December 18th, 2025 board meetings. Authorize the general manager to execute not to exceed time and material contract with Water System Consulting for program management support through permitting construction phases of the expansion and upgrade of Machado wastewater treatment facility by resolution 2026-XX, large X's. Uppercase.
I apologize for all the X's. We did not assign numbers in the event that we did not approve them, and it just causes a bigger mess. So I appreciate your patience with that.
Yeah, when it comes to you to sign, I'll have a number.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, as Director Sangster pointed out, this was tabled from October and also December. Originally it was tabled from October to provide a breakdown of what the original costs were versus what the ask is. That's provided on page 284 of your packet. In general, what we're asking for is a time and material amendment to their contract at $55,507.10 to provide additional support for permitting and construction phases of the expansion project of the wastewater treatment.
So some of these items came in under budget or weren't used or moved to another task or another segment of the T&M, right?
Yes, so there was, under alternative analysis, they were under budget by $3,415. Under environmental compliance, they were under budget by $5,514.60. Both of those amounts were transferred to task number 4, which is design program management, which reduced the overall increase. The remaining budget from number 5, the construction application, is just being carried forward. administration is being carried forward.
So it's an additional $54,952.
That is correct. And again, this is a town materials amendment, so if it's less, then we just won't be charged for it. We are actually pretty close to the end of a lot of our grant work, our grant administration work, so we could see some savings there and could see some savings in task number 5, because that is actually getting close to being finished also.
Okay, so the initial total contract was $273,135. So we're essentially looking at a roughly an additional 20-ish%.
Right.
Sound right?
Yes.
Questions or comments?
No.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, well, just one. All right. Now, you know, there's been a lot of changes in the plans back there.
Right.
So, I mean, are they taking into account that, you know, because how long they been doing this? 4 years?
Well, the original contract was in 2022, so
Well,
this is 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years, yeah.
I mean, the project's been going on before
Right.
they were even our engineer.
Right. But like I said, there has been a lot of changes to the upgrade of the treatment plant.
So this amendment is their analysis of what their time is going to be to finish these tasks,
Right,
including the changes that are happening to the treatment plant, or
right.
to the plants.
And, because, we'll go back to my favorite subject. You did say that Taj Mahal is not going in there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We're making an even bigger one.
Yeah, but it ain't going in there.
We're not building a building as part of this.
Okay, that's it. Okay, there's no building going in the treatment plant as of now,
The
correct?
building that was originally proposed for the treatment plant will not be included in the construction of the treatment plant.
Yeah.
Some sort of building in the future may be included, but it is not being included in the plans.
Okay, all right. Everybody heard that now.
Yep, every month we hear that.
I just wanted you
I
to,
know, you want to make sure, so I
yeah, just
appreciate that.
making sure, so, okay.
Very thorough about the Taj Mahal. All right, anything else from the board?
No.
No. Anything else? No. How about some public comment on this item? Nothing. All right. Goes back to the board.
I move that we approve.
Motion by Director Smiley to approve Resolution 2026-XX for not to exceed material contract with Water Systems Consulting. We have a second?
I'll second it.
And a second by Director Beatty.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 with 1 absent.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 8. Review and approve 2 contract amendments, number 6 and 9, with Wallace Group, Inc. for additional work related to the change in process for the closing of the package plant approved under amendment number 2, and additional plan changes which were not part of the original scope of work.
So, what's being requested is approval of 2 different contract amendments, number 6 and number 9. Get that page. The wrong way, sorry. Contract amendment number 6 is related to the Closina system conversion and site plan upgrades for the conversion, changing from the M2250 to the M9, which was a newer system that you were actually probably familiar with, same Cal Poly is using. Due to the new nature of that system, there was a lot of things that were not able to be considered and were not accounted for. This amendment number 6 is the shortage that Wallace Group has experienced in just those conversion costs. Revising our treatment plant site plans, our piping plans, coordination with Closina on this particular system. This is at no markup to us. So this is their base cost is $122,033.75 for the work to get through the rest of this conversion. The general hours breakdown of that is shown on page 293. The second amendment, number 9, is related to other design changes that are being requested or were requested from the district to the Wallace Group. The first one being the removal of the building from the bid package. As our grant was to complete a bid package with that building, that's what was completed. And with the prior direction of the board, it was included up to that point. Now they're removing it from the bid package. It doesn't mean that the work goes away necessarily, but it will be removed from bidding paperwork. The second is installing full height walls or designing full height walls for the covered vehicle storage building, which was separate from the office building and always has been separate from the office building. In addition to the septic receiving station and addition of dot cranes, which are pull-down cranes for the equipment in the Closina plant, and change from hardware connections to plug-style connections for all the removable pump systems. So all the lift stations, pump stations with removable pumps, the effluent pump stations from recycled water ponds would not be included because they would not be able to be pulled out by operations personnel. They would have to be pulled out by a contractor due to their size. So those will be hardwired, but the pumps for lift stations, EQ pond stations, other pump stations would be changed to this plug style connection, which is much safer for our staff to handle at our level and reduces overall risk to the district. The cost for each section is listed right there.